Continuing to reflect on the lolcow motif and what I find so fascinating about it. I think the last video that I did on the subject of lolcows, I discussed celebrity lolcows, and I realized afterwards, in fact, I think it might have been yesterday or the day before yesterday or sometime, soon to now, closer to now than when I recorded the video. I realized I had this kind of, whoa, you missed the most obvious, the elephant in the room, if you will. Well, that's not usually how that expression is used, but something huge that you missed on the subject of celebrity lolcows. And it struck me that one can go from being cool to being a lolcow. And I thought of Will Smith, for example. Will Smith in the 90s, in the aughts, was like basically the coolest guy in the world. He was a big celebrity. Everybody thought he was funny and hot and suave, and you couldn't really, there was really nothing to make fun of, with Will Smith. Every woman wanted to be with him. Every man wanted to be him, as the cliche goes. Compare that to the Will Smith of today. I mean, talk about a reversal of fortune. He is a laughingstock. He's become a meme in the worst sort of way. And how did that all happen? How do you go from being the coolest guy in the world to being a lolcow, a huge lolcow? Is it just age? No, obviously not, because other men have aged and continued to be cool. But I'm talking about celebrities here. It's the celebrity motif, and so that's taking us outside of the realm of men as a general category. I know we're talking. I know when we talk about celebrities, we're not really talking about men, but it's not age that makes a person go from being cool to being not cool. You can still continue to be cool as you age. But Will Smith has been most cruelly undermined. And it's so strange to go back. And I'm saying this not as a fan, by the way. I was never never a fan per se. I never hated him, but it never really meant that much to me. But I just knew, by observation, that he was generally thought of as a really cool guy. Like what did he not have, right, in the 90s and the aughts? He had looks, he had sense of humor, he had I don't know, I guess that suaveness or savoir-faire or whatever. All those things. And it all got undermined. It all, the polls reversed for Will Smith. He went from being who he was to the polar opposite of who he was, to now, he comes out with a new album, records a video, and everybody's laughing at the video. Everybody's laughing because it's so ridiculous. And, the lyrics are stupid. The video is stupid. He looks like he's trying too hard. You see him doing some performance live, and nobody, like in a big crowd in some city. I think it's London, and nobody seems to care. Like nobody's going crazy. Oh wow, that's Will Smith. Nobody's mobbing him. Everybody seems indifferent or annoyed by the fact that he's there. And did this all come about? Was this all because he was undermined by a woman? Was this all because his wife told him live on a live telecast that millions of people saw, that she was unfaithful to him, that she cheated on him with with one of his son's friends, a man half Will Smith's age, half her age. And he just had to sort of sit there and take it. And he didn't storm out of the room. He didn't react the way that a normal man would and or should. He didn't become angry. He didn't become incensed. He didn't say, turn that camera off now. We're not doing this. I'm not doing this anymore. I want nothing to do with you anymore. It's over. You've betrayed me. If he had done things like that, done something like that, he could have saved himself. But he just sat there and took it when she told him these things. And maybe he already knew them. But still, there's something to be said. Like you're telling the whole world. You're telling that to the whole world. Your wife is saying to the public, to everybody, everybody with access to the internet, that she disrespected you in the worst possible way, in the worst way that someone who's married could disrespect the person that he's married to, he or she is married to. And he just took it. He just took it. And then later, at the Academy Awards, when Chris Rock made a joke about his wife, a harmless joke, not a mean joke, he came up and slapped him. Now I know that there's still people who say that it was all faked. And I don't know what's real. Who knows? There's no way we can get to the bottom of it all. I think the slap was real, personally. I think it actually happened. If something is a setup, you can usually tell. And this had that awkward feeling of being something that wasn't supposed to happen. So your wife cheats on you flagrantly, tells the whole world that she's cheated on you. And instead of getting mad at her, instead of taking it out on her, by taking it out on her, I don't mean being physically violent to her. I mean, telling her that they're through, that he's done with her, that she's not worth, that she's proven not to be worth what he thought she was worth, that she's a whore, whatever. Instead of doing that, he stands up for her honor. What honor? What honor does she have? She brazenly cuckolded him, and not only that, but told the world that she did it, and told the world who she did it with. And he just had to sit. He didn't have to, but his disposition was such that he just sat there and took it. And that, I think, was what started him down. I mean, maybe it started before that. I don't know when the downward trajectory started for him. I never saw the movie where he played the Venus and Serena's father that he was supposed to be, where he won the Academy Award for, or whatever. I wasn't interested to see it, but I mean, he supposedly won him some plaudits, and people thought it was the Academy liked it, what exists besides the Academy, really? Whose opinion really matters besides the opinion of the collective group of people who call themselves the Academy, right? So you would think he would have won prestige points from that, but instead, everybody sees that he's a man whose wife cheats on him and who doesn't respond appropriately to hearing that, but instead turns against a guy who makes a harmless joke about her. I mean, he should have the joke that Chris Rock made about Will Smith's wife. Will Smith should have thought of things that were 1,000 times more scathing. He should have said something 1,000 times more scathing than Chris Rock's joke about her looking like G.I. Jane, and she would have deserved it. And but he didn't. For some reason, he didn't. So now he's gone from the epic cool guy, from the king of cool to this lolcow figure that he is now. I mean, it maybe started before that. I'm trying to pinpoint the trajectory of when it all started. There was the thing that he did for that YouTube video, like the recap of the year. That everybody thought was stupid. Everybody sort of turned against him for that. But yeah, so if people see, if you get shown up, and you don't do anything about it, you just sit there and take it. If you get betrayed in the worst possible way and humiliated, emasculated in the worst possible way, and you don't do anything to stand up for yourself, then you become a lolcow. And there was also weird stuff with his son, of course, who likes to cross dress, which is de rigueur for Hollywood, right? These days, everybody's all the celebrities, all of their sons they raise as daughters. All their daughters they raise as sons. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little, but not much. It's pretty sick. It's a sick environment. Yeah. Uh, I think maybe the things that were happening with his son, the times where he kissed his son, he insisted on kissing his son on the lips, um, was also really strange, and that maybe made people think there's something weird going on with this guy. um, I've never kissed I wouldn't even think of ever kissing my father on the lips. Wouldn't think of kissing my father anywhere, much less on the lips. And I think that's normal for most men. But things are different in Hollywood. We saw those pictures of Rob and Carl Reiner smooching. If you haven't seen them, you can find them. It was when they gave Carl Reiner some award. I think when they gave one of them some award, then they both kissed on the lips, and people were talking about how Rob Reiner and when he was on the set with his son, his son, who later allegedly murdered both him and his wife, how there was some testimony about how he kept kissing him on the lips or wanting to kiss him on the lips. This is all very bizarre. This is not normal. I think people who try to say, well, this is just normal affection between father and son. No, it's not. And it's bizarre and it's unseemly, and yeah. I'm not saying it means that they're necessarily doing anything else besides kissing, but I am saying the kissing itself is not normal. So, yeah. I guess I got a little far afield there, but Will Smith. I'll just conclude by saying Will Smith, when is an example of someone who went from being well regarded. Again, I don't have any personal stake in him at all, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, as celebrities go, he was like he was he was in the top 5, big names as far as movie stars go, for a long time, and generally just thought of as a really cool guy, the essence of cool. So the essence of cool can become the biggest lolcow. It can happen. It's probably happened in other cases too that I can't think of. If it's happened to others, please leave their names below, because again, I don't always. Sometimes it takes me, I'm a little slow on the draw, but I wanted to correct it by talking about Will Smith as the biggest celebrity lolcow perhaps to have existed. Yet, insofar as he fell so far, I mean, his fall was like Lucifer's fall from heaven, if I may dare make that analogy. You know, holiness is to coolness as Will Smith is to Lucifer. There you go.